Staying single is the secret to finding lasting love. I know that sounds crazy, but today we're going to share 3 counterintuitive things that you can be doing as a single person to attract the right person for you. Welcome to the Campbell and Amanda podcast. My name is Campbell.
My name's Amanda.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
You excited?
Yes, I am very excited about this topic today for so many reasons. What about you?
I'm excited, yes. I mean, I said to some folks recently, I'm so glad I'm not dating in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while, but we do have some tips to help people that are dating or looking for love and looking for connection.
Exactly. And here's the first thing, that your approach must change if you're going to attract the right person. And that's what we want to really focus on today, because there's a difference between being single and being alone. All right. So maybe do we want to first define what alone means?
Yeah. I mean, alone is being an emotional state, and it arises from not having meaningful connections with others, or companionship is missing or lacking, and you don't have people to do life with.
Exactly. And that's why it's very possible for somebody to actually be married and still feel alone, because alone has to do with having that meaningful connection. And so we have a lot of people that are in marriages that are alone.
Which is sad. You're living parallel lives. Maybe you're just strangers in your own home because you're not intentional about connection.
And that's why we also see the divorce rates of parents who have the last child leave the home going to college. Those divorce rates rise because all of a sudden people realize that they are strangers. They have been in this relationship, married, but alone. And so that is super important for you to understand, differentiate between being alone and being single, because they're 2 very, very different things, right? So do we want to talk, maybe diving right into what it means to be single?
Yeah, sure. So being single is about self-alignment. So what do I mean by that? It means knowing who you are, and we call this identity. Knowing why you exist, we call this purpose. Knowing where you are going, we call this vision. And knowing how to get there, which we call strategy.
All right, so let's break it down a little bit for people there to understand. So when we talk about being, first of all, knowing who you are, it means that you know your strengths, you know your areas of weakness or areas of challenge, you know the things that you want from a relationship, you have defined for yourself. Even before somebody steps into your world, you have defined for yourself exactly who you are. Because we have a lot of single people, especially young people out there that are busy looking for love on these apps and just looking at the physical end of a relationship and not really digging into finding out, who am I, before I even invite somebody else to come into my life.
Right. And who have you been? Because that's your history is a part of what makes you who you are. And we jump to, like you said, the physical relationship instead of investigating ourselves, knowing who we are and why, and finding purpose around that, where you're going as well. Yeah,
and you're right, because once you sort out who you are, you've dealt with your emotional baggage, you have dealt with whatever is in your past, meaning that you're either on a path to healthy emotional state, or you are already there. You have sorted out your whole identity piece. And now you can begin to focus on purpose, your reason for existence. Because again, a lot of people rush into starting lifelong relationships and then together with their partner try and start figuring out, who am I? Right. Why am I here? And so you find that when people don't know who they are and why they're here or purpose, they begin to disconnect from their partner and begin to bring in that aspect of being alone in a marriage.
So often we define ourselves by a role, whether it's, a daughter, a son, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. And if we
Or who you are at work.
Who you are at work. And if you go into a relationship like that, you change. People change, your jobs change, your family dynamics change. So like you really can't define yourself, your whole entire identity by the roles or the things that you do, or the people who you're connected with. It has to be some inner work that you've really worked on to discover, what makes you tick, what are your strengths, like you said, and not be defined by that within your relationship.
Exactly. I remember when we got together, I think that if somebody was eavesdropping on some of our first conversations, they would have said, these are the most serious people ever. Because there's some of the things that we were talking about just when we began dating were things that we thought were important for us, because I think both of us were not looking for a fling. Right?
No,
we were not looking for just let's kick the tires here and see how this goes. No. Definitely not.
No.
Right? Go ahead.
Kick the tires. I was going to say fun was not my middle name, and kicking the tires.
Fun is still not your middle name.
Fun is still not my middle name. True. I've always been somebody who is serious and, had direction in my life. And so whoever I was going to consider to join me in this journey, I was going, they had to also have some direction in their life as well.
Yes. And so most of our conversations centered around, of course, just trying to get to know the history of the person. Like I wanted to know, family background, where do you come from? And all this happened within the context of conversation, of course. We're not sitting there with like a pen and paper and going like, checking off boxes. But the moment you start to interact with a person, you begin to get a sense of whether this person is grounded in identity, like they know who they are, right? They know what they want. They have their non-negotiables, right?
Yeah, when you can have a conversation with somebody about values or what makes you happy, what do you enjoy in life, hobbies, even, those are ways that people can get to know you. Not that you're looking to find common ground all the time, but like you're just really getting to understand what makes up this person.
And so as a single person, be very clear about who you are. Be very clear about why you are here, your reason for existence, your purpose. Be very clear about what you want out of life, where you are going. We call that vision, right? Have you painted a vivid picture for yourself about where you see your life in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? If you haven't done that, you have no business, frankly, bringing somebody else into your life to help you figure that piece out. Because we see a lot of people desperate for love, and really it's desperate for emotional connection,
right,
that they jump into relationships. And for us who have counseled people before, we can see a train wreck coming 100 miles away. Like we can see it coming, and we can try and help people to no, first figure out who you are, why you're here, where you are going, figure out your strategy as in how you are going to get there, so that when your partner joins you, it is really a partnership. You hitching onto their wagon as they hitch onto yours, going in a direction,
Yeah, it's very sad for people who feel like they can become what the other person needs or wants and start enjoying what other people want, and then start creating their own life around the interests of somebody else. You really have to be in a place where you discover for yourself first, I enjoy X, Y, and Z. I want to pursue, the X, Y, and Z, and be able to see if you're aligned in that way before you romantically become involved.
Exactly. Because if you are single, you will be attracted to other single people, right? That is just the way it happens. When you know who you are, where you're going, how to get there, you are attracted to somebody else who is like that. And single people are also attracted to people who are self-confident, people who are self-assured, people who are already whole, right? That whole famous line from that Tom Cruise movie, I forget what the title is, but you complete me.
You had me at, oh.
No, not you had me at hell, but you complete me. Like, that is a whole bunch of baloney. Like, listen, if a person is coming into your life, you already needs to be whole without them, right?
Or on your journey to becoming whole,
Oh,
and
yes.
knowing, like, generally seeking, searching for yourself and working on yourself and knowing that there's a direction you're headed in, and a desire to get there.
And that's why single people don't say things like, I just want someone to complete me, right? Instead, they're saying things like, I'm already whole and I welcome the right person into my life, right? I don't need you to complete me. I am already there. I was listening to former First Lady Michelle Obama talking about the first time they went for marriage counseling. And one of her biggest aha moments in that marriage counseling was the fact that the counselor said to her, you have to find satisfaction apart from your husband. Like, he cannot complete you. You need to be whole as an individual, because you're looking for him to complete you, and that is not just going to work. And that was a big thing for her. And I think that it is a big thing for a lot of people. And that's why we are saying that being single is the secret to finding lasting love. That is the absolute truth.
And, even as my wheels are spinning, even as we have this conversation, because I can imagine people saying, well, you got to be 45 before you can do that, or 30 at the earliest, because life is a journey and life is all about searching. But there are some things in life that we should raise our kids up to understand that are important, are valuable in relationships, period, but especially if you're going to be connecting yourself on emotional, romantic level with people, you need to have a sense of who you are.
Yeah, and I mean, we were 18, right? 18,
21.
21?
I was 21.
Oh, you were 21. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were 21. When we started,
20.
I was 20 by a few months. She robbed the cradle, baby and all, right? No, but we were young. And this is not like us in mid-20s or early 30s. It is us at 20 and 21 having these very serious discussions about, no, do I know who I am? Do I know why I'm here, where I'm going, how to get there? Having these conversations even before we start entertaining marriage, right?
Not as articulately as we can
Oh,
now.
yeah. No,
of course not. No.
So basically stop searching for the right person and become that person. Begin to invest in becoming single. So that means that you begin to create a life that feels good, whether you are alone in a relationship. All right. Or if you want to find love this year, focus on becoming single.
Yeah. And enjoying the life that you are building.
Yes.
You don't have to have somebody else in your life to be building something.
Yes.
In your own. It's nice to build something together with somebody, but you have the capacity. It's within you to have desires and values and dreams and visions and begin building that without somebody else. And somebody else will come along and find what you're building attractive.
Exactly. And so, number one, focus on becoming single. Number two, begin to build a life that you love apart from the other person, right? And because it's about being self-fulfilled before partnership. Right? Like you're saying, build a life that you enjoy without other people coming along for the ride. Like if you're already happy, you're already whole, you're already enjoying your life, the other person who comes in, your partner, just comes to augment the life that you are creating or have created.
Yeah. To amplify.
Yes.
And augment, that's a good word too, but to amplify what you have done, to celebrate with you and to come alongside in the joy of what you've already been establishing in your own life.
Exactly. So here are just some ideas of how you can build a life that you love. So pursue new hobbies, create goals, focus on experiences. And I think if we have a regret in our relationship, I think it's that we haven't created as many experiences as we've wanted to create. Now that we have a kid, that is kind of, a focus. Like, how can we create experiences where he will go like, I remember doing this with mom and dad, you know?
Yeah, core memories that are meaningful and like milestones within your life.
Exactly.
That are shared experiences. Maybe you going abroad to study. That's an amazing opportunity for growth on many levels for you as an individual. Not going abroad to pursue finding a spouse in Spain or Africa.
Oh, Africa.
But for your own personal growth.
Exactly. Also surround yourself with positive relationships that support growth.
Yeah.
Because if your network of relationships do not support growth, they do not support the person that you are becoming, then it becomes very hard to build a life that you love.
Yeah, and sometimes that means being a part of a book club with your friends, or reading a book together with your friends, or being a part of something that creates community, whether it's a hobby or church, whatever it is that gives you opportunity to learn and grow together with your friends. You need those kinds of opportunities because growth doesn't happen in isolation, and you want to be a growing person.
Exactly. And also focus on self-care and self-development, personal development, and emotional well-being. I think that a lot of young people do not build into their lives, and just a lot of people in general do not build into their lives self-care and personal development. One of the biggest things that we do is read, right? We watch a lot of serious things. I think I watch a lot of serious things.
And funny.
Serious and funny things, right? But again, it's investing in that personal growth, in emotional well-being. One of the biggest things that I've really come to love over the last 4 years or so is just meditation. That has been good for me. Breathing exercises and.
Yeah, and something that has been meaningful for our entire relationship, even before we were married, is singing together. Because we both had a passion for music and a passion for singing. We both have opportunities to do that. And so being able to grow in our marriage and being able to do that together was something that was meaningful on an individual level, meaning it wasn't something that we had to do together because it was who we were. But it was something that we enjoyed and we both found growth in it.
Exactly. And lastly, around this building a life that you love, learn to love your own company. Right? Learn to love and enjoy being by yourself. You don't always need people there with you. You don't always need your partner to be there with you. If you know how to be with yourself and enjoy your own company.
Yeah, be still.
Yes.
So many people are so busy.
Yes.
Going here and doing that and meeting up with this one. Sometimes you need to be with your own thoughts and know how to do that and be okay with that and find joy in who you are.
Yeah. And maybe if you don't enjoy your own company, maybe you should be asking, what are you running from? What are you scared of? Right? Why are you so afraid of being by yourself? Right? So, number 1, focus on being single. Number 2, build a life that you love. And then the last counterintuitive thing you can do right now is build a profile of your ideal partner. Woo!
Become a profiler. Don't, top of the list should not be how they look in jeans.
Lord have mercy.
That should not be top of the list. So top of the list should be, what are their standards? Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and we laugh about it, but a lot of, they have to be, maybe beauty and somebody being handsome is not your thing. I don't know. Maybe you're not looking at the outside. You're looking at the inside. Whatever that means, right?
I saw your yellow shorts. Come on.
I know. I was thinking that when you brought up the jeans, I was thinking
your yellow
shorts. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so in all seriousness, we see, right? So natural attraction sometimes is first on the outside, but you want to dig a little bit deeper. Somebody can be very beautiful on the outside, but ugly on the inside. Like they are not fundamentally a good person. And I think one of the things that people do not do often and do not do well, in my opinion, is building that profile of an ideal partner. And so don't pursue attention, create standards instead, right? Because if you don't have standards in your life, you're going to attract the wrong kind of person. Right? So a lot of people are vying for attention. They're on these apps, they're swiping left or right or whatever you do on these apps, and they're just looking for attention. The social media profiles are all about, my good side. I'm having fun, and make sure you take a picture from my good side, and you're always checking the angles and stuff because you're looking at the superficial outside stuff. You haven't really sat down to say, this is what I want from my ideal partner. So if you're single, it means you're already whole. We've talked about that. You're not looking for somebody to complete you. You're looking for someone to complement you. Yeah. Right?
Somebody to augment, to amplify what is already there. Yeah.
Yeah. So do we just want to talk about maybe just a few practical things that people can do to create that ideal profile for a partner? And I mean, this is not going to be comprehensive, but we think these few things are a great start, right? First, you want to
write down 3 to 5 non-negotiables for a healthy, fulfilling relationship. And this is what we call your values. Right?
Exactly.
And it could be related to a spiritual life. It could be related to your fitness life and your health and well-being. Those are values that you have. It could be related to you're a lifelong learner. Those are just a few areas that you can consider for, like, what are your non-negotiables?
Exactly. And I like to think about creating values in terms of how do I want to feel, right? How do I want to feel in this relationship? So if you say I want to feel supported in this relationship, you want to define what that support looks like in a relationship.
Yeah. For example, in our own relationship, that was a value of mine, an unspoken value, because I grew up in a home where I felt like I was the one who was doing the supporting. So I felt like I wanted somebody who could support me, which meant that I'd be able to, I'd be able to lean on their shoulders emotionally. I wouldn't be the only one handling all the emotional trauma or stress or baggage or, in the relationship. It would be a shared, it would be shared.
So that's what support looked like for you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to feel valued. Again, you want to define what does value, to be valued, look like to me in a relationship. Or you say, and I hear this often, I want to feel wanted in this relationship. What do you mean you want to feel wanted in this relationship? And I mean, we can go down the list, but there are so many things that you should really be thinking of in terms of how do I want to feel in this relationship, and what does that mean? Because if you do not define it and explain it for your partner or prospective partner, they're not going to be able to give that to you because they'll be in the dark about it.
Right. I mean, it's very vague. What I want to feel loved. Love is an enormous word that encompasses so many things, and everybody feels loved in a different way. So describe what that looks like for you.
Exactly.
Specifically.
And then secondly, stop chasing chemistry and start looking for compatibility, right? Because people go with their gut, it just felt right. I got news for you. Those feelings fade, right? I always say that love is a decision. Every day you wake up, you have to decide to love.
Right.
Because you're not always going to feel those butterflies. Those butterflies, they grow wings and fly away.
Butterflies have a short lifespan.
Yeah, and butterflies have a short lifespan, So, I just feel butterflies in my stomach. Yeah, today.
But when you're grounded in the foundational things like your values,
exactly.
They're pillars in your life, and they are supposed to hold you up or you crumble.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they don't change that quickly.
No, they're consistent, or they don't fly away. They're like rocks. They just stay there.
Cornerstones.
Yeah, exactly. Firm foundation, right? So stop chasing chemistry and start looking for compatibility. So you want to first know your strengths and your areas of challenge that we talked about. Again, we circle back to this little identity piece. It's not little, but I just say this little identity piece. And secondly, you want to know what strengths your partner has and what areas of challenge that they have. Because remember, the compatibility sometimes means that your partner is strong where you are weak, and they are weak where you are strong. And so because you come together, you complement each other, and
Right.
you just become compatible. Chemistry is important. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. Chemistry is important. I think there needs to be a spark, but just realize that it's going to take a lot of effort to maintain that spark in your relationship. So instead of focusing just primarily on the chemistry, focus on compatibility.
Yeah, if the guy can't have a conversation with you, there's your clue. There's
your
a red
clue.
flag. There's your clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't change him. Like, you can't make your whole life journey, your whole life purpose to change him.
Exactly.
You got to have a conversation, be able to have a conversation with the man.
Yeah, and talking
And vice
about
versa.
and vice versa.
With the women.
Yeah, and talking about conversation. Part of having those conversations is having those and asking those uncomfortable questions, having those uncomfortable conversations. I would say early on in your relationship, as soon as you become stable and are looking to create a lifelong partnership, you want to kind of step back and begin to ask some very uncomfortable questions. Questions like, are we dating for marriage? Is this just for companionship, or is this a long-term partnership, right? I think for us from the get-go, just because of where we knew our lives were going, marriage was always on the table. Like, this is a thing we need to talk about. Are we looking to get married at some point?
Yeah, I mean, it was a non-negotiable for
That
me.
was, yes,
Because there were
life
stipulations.
situation.
There were stipulations around the
Where
path
you
that I
were.
was taking in life, and rules and regulations around who I could marry, because and so it really was an important question for me to ask early on.
Exactly. And questions like, do we want to have children?
Yeah.
That's an important question. Or if we don't have children, are you open to adoption?
And if we don't have children, are we going to be okay with us
Yes, are we going to be okay with us?
being a family of two?
Yeah, being a family of two. And for us, that almost became reality. I mean, we waited for our child for 12 years and we wanted to be parents, but situation did not just allow it, and we were pleasantly surprised, and it was literally a surprise that we got pregnant, and we are so grateful for that. But and it was hard. It wasn't easy because we wanted a child. We were not yet at a place where we were just saying we are okay just being the two of us. We were okay with the idea of it, but we still had this desire. But again, this is a journey we were on together. We were on the
Right.
same page every step of the way, And you want to ask that last
I
question?
mean, the last question, are you open to relocation? And this is a primary question, a foundational question for a lot of people. I know of people whose relationships they were deep into a relationship, never asked this question. And then one of the partners said, I'm relocating for work. And then all that work and time you spent years getting to know somebody, building a life with them, and then it was a non-negotiable for you. You weren't going to leave your family behind and move to a totally different state, so it's gone.
A different continent.
Or continent. You have to know, are you open to this?
Yes. And these are and they seem like, oh my gosh, you guys are too serious. But we have seen this time and time again, where people have not had these uncomfortable conversations in their relationship, and they end up just being shipwrecked. And their relationship just becomes a sad story because they did not want to face the uncomfortable conversations. Wouldn't you want to know up front if a person is willing to relocate, be okay with not having kids? We just saw a story today of a lady with 16 children and she homeschools all of them. I was just like, Lord have mercy. The oldest is 21. The youngest, I think, was like 2. I'm like, how do you do that, lady? Right? And that has never been on the table for us. I always joke that I want a soccer team, which is 11, but...
Yeah. Not happening, bro.
not happening. Okay, so we wanted to share these important truths for single people, all right? Because we believe fundamentally that becoming single is the secret to lasting love, to finding that partner who will be your ride or die, right? My wife always says, why do you have to die? Why can't you just ride? Yeah, can we just ride? Yeah. All right. Okay. So here's our final take. Listen, and I hope that you have enjoyed this. But finding love isn't about searching hard. It's about aligning with the right energy, the right opportunities, the right person, right? Because the better you become, the better you attract. So we want you to make this year as a year where you're going to create an amazing life for yourself so that you can find that right person. And if you're already in a relationship and if you want to know if you're sabotaging your relationship right now, we want you to watch this next video that we did. Do you have any last words for our friends before we go?
Yes. In all seriousness, you are worth discovering. So if you're in a place of discovery and this prompts you to question everything about your existence, it's worth your effort to discover who you are, where you're going, what your purpose is in life, and how to get there. And it'll make the journey with somebody else that much more beautiful if you do that.
Yes, and focusing on building a life that you love, being okay with being alone and enjoying your own company, and then also creating that ideal partner profile, right? Think through, what do you want from a relationship? It has to be beyond the chemistry. It has to be about compatibility. And so become very clear about what you want from your relationship. And like I said, if you want to know, if you're already in a relationship, want to know if you're self-sabotaging your relationship, you can watch this next video or look through our channel to kind of find other videos that we have done, lessons we have learned from our 20 years of marriage and all kinds of stuff. And we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.